So Dr Alex, Minister for Enterprise, now you're in a bit of an unfortunate position with this one because your department isn't responsible for any of this stuff. It's Douglas Council, Brandon Commissioners and the DOI. But from a tourism perspective, this is your problem, and it's of course the Charles Gard video which came out this week, which, as we've said, it's somebody who has spent his whole life and career broadcasting the Ireland as a wonderful place and magic, and he's suddenly gone, this is not right, we need to fix things here. And from your perspective, what are you able to say about how your department has responded to this, especially in terms of what this says to tourists coming here?
Yeah, I mean, Sir Charles is obviously very welcome to his opinion, and he's produced with his friends a very good video, which takes a magnifying glass to a couple of aspects along Douglas Prom. And I think, fair play to him, you can't disagree with some of his comments. As you say, he's criticising some of the decisions made by the democratically elected Douglas Corporation, in terms of the groins, which I didn't know about, so that I've been googling how they decrease or increase the amount of sand.
As a former journalist covering Douglas Council, I could tell you a lot about that.
Yeah, there is a history to some of these decisions, certainly. But he's picked up on a few other decisions that we made, like the walls for the sunken garden, which I know the Douglas Corporation have been looking into as well. In terms of the Department for Enterprise, we are obviously overseeing the visit agency. It's a bit of a pity he didn't come to myself or the infrastructure minister, because we've been doing quite a lot of things behind the scenes in terms of getting both Douglas and the rest of the island ready for the tourist season. Now, the Visitor First Working Group was established in 2019, which brings together various departments. Tim Crookall had already agreed to meet with both the local Douglas MHKs and Douglas Corporation to see what needs to be done before TT as well. So there's a lot of work going on there, but you can always find faults, and what government needs to do is get some of the housekeeping right, and obviously work with all the other agencies, particularly Douglas Corporation, to make sure that when people get off the boat or they get off the aircraft, they get the best aspect possible.
And just in terms of one thing you did pick up on as well, which is more towards the department, is the Laxey Wheel.
Yep.
Now we're told that's going to be sort of July sort of period I'm running. Just in terms of that, they've also thought, however, during TT there's going to be something that may be more visually nice. Do you have any idea what that is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, Manx National Heritage have been working very closely with the contractors there to get the job right, to make sure that it's the right repairs on what is obviously a historical monument and very important for the people of the Isle of Man. We need to get that right, but to try to make it open and accessible to both residents and tourists as soon as possible. You can't rush the Lady Isabella, nobody would dare to do that, but hopefully we can get it completely open for the tourist season. But to make sure that job is done properly, and again make sure that the routine maintenance on some of our national monuments is kept up to date.
Well, that is sort of point, I suppose, in the sense, because take this with Peel Castle, the walkway around it is closed because they've got work on that's going on there. Lady Isabel, there was successive governments failed there in terms of what was actually needed to be done. But has it sort of made your department as a whole think about what support can be given to M&H around the other areas? Because, for example, the House Banana, which looked wonderful when we were at school and the 90s and going there, it looks a bit tired. How much does this video, from your point of view at least, say maybe we do need to look a little bit at reinvesting back into the tourism thing? I'm not a fan of old politicians coming out of the woodwork, but when Tony Brown was on the radio this week and he said similar things, that when the days weren't as good, they had the money there to do it. Is that something that your department has to look at now? Absolutely, and in May Tynwald we're going to be debating the visitor strategy, which looks exactly at that, at a refresh, not just for some of the attractions here, but the accommodation sector. How can government work with the visitor sector, work with the tourism sector to improve the offering? Because that's not just for people who come over here, it's for the people who live here as well. And I think you're absolutely right that some of the ongoing investment and refreshing of some of the places like the House Manannan is overdue, but it takes money, and at the moment the government priorities really are looking at the cost of living problems, sustainable housing, climate change, all the other things that are important, but we can't take our eye off actually our national heritage as well. So that's one of the parts of the visit agency have been bringing in Manx National Heritage into part of the entire package that's presented to people, and also me advocating for them with the Treasury Minister when they need extra funding or when they need help and support to actually advertise what they've got.